Welcome to everybody to our session. We are on our ninth session. So first, I want to thank you on coming, all of you who are new. My name is Eugenio. I am with my teammate Omar Bermudez and our guest. You will know him soon. So let's begin. Today, it's our ninth session. As I told, we will talk about the pick and roll. We have a player to have some ideas of his purpose, and after we will analyze some points of emphasis to consider during this play. The first question, we are going straight to the business. The first question we always have is how are you related to basketball? So you will have the question on the poll, and you can choose between referee, coach, player, or if you are participating in the sport as a manager, fan, or any other. So let's have your answers to know approximately how it is composed our room. Okay. Let's see. We always encourage everybody to invite not only referees but coaches and players so we can have a better interaction, having their point of view and also trying to share the rule in or look into the way to smooth the communication. So we have here 72% of referees, we have some coaches, some players, and I think that those other 16% are fans, but not fans of basketball, but fans of our guest. So I think her family, his family, everybody is following him. So now I know why we have 15% of other people. Let's now talk about what are we going to talk. First, we will introduce our guest. Then we will have like a quick explanation about the pick and roll. Then we will have like the point of view of Eugenio when he defends or when he is attacking using the pick and roll. After, we'll have a short rule support about screens to know what the rule established so we can analyze some points of emphasis. Second question, which is mandatory when we have a guest on the session, is maybe some of you don't know him. Eugenio, we have here people from Algeria, Oman, a lot of places from the Middle East. So maybe they don't know you. So let's try. You have an answer, which is the country of birth of our guest between Chile, Panama, and United States. So you can answer, you can give your opinion. Maybe some of you who watch the flyer can get confused when we talk about country of birth, but he will have the opportunity to share. I think they are like guiding on the flyer. It says Panama, so 82% choose Panama. Now, I think we're going smooth. No internet problems. Hope we will not have today. Okay, our guest is Eugenio Luzcando. He will talk why here it says Panama and Chile. He's a Panama national team member and a professional player, 25 years old. When we asked him from since when are you playing basketball, that was his answer, since he was born. He also had a college degree at Idaho State University. He is a player of the Panama national team since 2016 and a professional player since 2018. So now, Eugenio, is your opportunity to share anything with the people.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Julio. Hello, Omar. Thank you for having me here. It's a big honor to be here as a first player in this platform. So thank you both. And yeah, whoever chose that was from Chile is correct. It's because I was born and raised over there in Chile. I actually played for the Chilean national team, the juniors, under 15, under 16. And then when I was 21 years old, I chose to play for Panama. I got dual citizenship because of my dad is from Panama now, and I got my Panamanian passport since I was 3 years old. So that's why I got dual citizenship. That's why it says Panama and Chile. But I was born in Chile.
Okay, so now we'll move to our third question, which is also mandatory before beginning the topic, and is which is the element inside the referee's preparation that is more related to the points of emphasis during a pick and roll. And remember, on our first session, those of you who have not watched it, it's on our YouTube playlist. We talk about these 5 points and what includes each of them. So now you have the opportunity to share what do you think in which of these points. Maybe they can be more than one, but we can like have a one answer. What do you think is this concept of pick and roll? So we will begin with Omar. What do you think about where is this concept inside the referee's preparation?
I think technical preparation is the key one, just because, of course, we learn about this, the pick and roll. Of course, we know about our mistakes, but I think we prepare game by game, so we can prepare before in the scouting report. So I think technical preparation is a good one for me.
Eugenio, I know you are not the referee, but if you have to choose, these
I was
5 points we consider like makes up a referee, an integral referee. So if
I
you
would
have
say the
basketball,
main one is a technical preparation for the pick and roll, but the second one, the physical capacity, because of at the at the end of the game, you gotta be well prepared, well conditioning to have your mental conditioning right and get the right call. So technical and then physical.
okay, 66% of the people agree with you with the technical. I will choose the philosophical activation as a way to understand the play but not the rule. So it's like, okay, I can referee screens, but I need to understand what's happening during a pick and roll, what the player wants, what the defender wants, and that will help us a lot. But sometimes, or most of the time, we don't have wrong answers here. All are correct, unless we have here. Now we can move on to begin our session properly.
Great. So moving forward to the pick and roll, that is our topic today, and creating some connection with the information that we had in our previous sessions, as well as the perimeter tendency that we have. We talked before that at least 40% of the opportunities created by the team to the basket are made from the perimeter on these days. As well, the pick and roll is a really important part on our basketball. And just because this happens every single play, so we have the tendency to have screens on and off the ball, but mainly on these days, the players are creating so much opportunities of pick and rolls on the top of the key. Uh, Basically, we need to know how they play and how they create these situations so we can improve. And based on that, we have a question for you. The question is, what is a pick and roll? So you have two options. It is a screen on a player without the ball, seeking to free him for a possible open shot, and option B, a screen to a player with the ball, in which the player who makes the screens turns and cuts towards the basket with the intention of receiving the ball. So you'll see these two options on the board right in the chat, so you can make your choice. Uh, we will describe, so we will develop the topic right now. And basically, we had a video after this information. And pick and roll basically is a screen on the player with the ball, which is a direct screen, which can be a stationary or in movement. Of course, the player who set the screens rolls and cuts toward the basket, and the player with the ball has multiple options who can be shot the ball after the screen. He can attack with a dribble, or he can pass it to the player who is cutting toward the basket. Also, the defense has multiple options. Basically, is stay or keep the opponent that they have. Some or most of the times, the teams on the defense have some instructions to don't switch or switching every single screen, and also they have the options to double team the ball, or some different options that they can create. Of course, it is important that we need to understand that most of the times that we have a pick and roll, uh, the intention is to create some confusion on the defenders. So they sometimes they can, create confusion, and they don't know exactly to switch or not. No word, no matter if the coach already said that. So they create that advantage based on the pick and roll. It is very common actually in our game. So we need to be prepared every single time to know what are the options created after the pick and roll. So let's see the video so you can see a pick and roll where the screener cuts toward the basket. As you can see, we have a screen right on the ball. Usually, this type of screens, it is a practice screen, but usually we have these type of situations where the screen is created above the level of the free throw line extended, and always the screener is cutting toward the basket. Uh, let's move to the next question. So we have a different option after the screen. And how is now the movement in which the player who set the screen, instead of cutting toward the basket, cuts to the perimeter to be ready for a shot? Two options: pick and pop and pick and slip. So you'll see these options on the poll also. And let's move forward to the next one. Basically, pick and pop, you'll see a video after this information, is very similar as well of the pick and roll, but what the difference is that the player who set the screens, instead of cutting towards the basket, cuts towards the perimeter, looking for the opportunity of an open shot. Something to mention right here is that the tendency is that we have some power forwards or centers that the tendency is to create these pick and pop situations, and usually they are really really good from the perimeter. So we can have a lot of names right now, but we'll see these very common on these times. Let's see the video so you can see the example. Just really. As well, we have the screen, and after that, we have the screener finding the space to the perimeter so he can shot. Basically, this is the options that we have every time we have a pick and roll. As well, remember that it could happen on the or above the level of the uh, free throw line extended. It doesn't mean it's going to be always on that point, but it is one of the tendencies that we have. Let's move forward.
Okay, sometimes we like, why do we need to know this? And when we are talking with players and coaches and we can identify the name of the movements, this is a key. If we say to the player, hey, when he picks and pop, the so, or something like that, and they know that we know what's happening on the game. We don't only know the rules, but also the game. So now we will have the player's perspective, beginning with the defense. So we will make before a quick question for you to know if you are doing a pick and roll, how will you defend an opponent with a high perimeter shot percentage? So you will have the options A, going below the screen, or B, trying to go over the screen. Before going with our guest, you have the opportunity to share your answer. If you are defending a player with a high perimeter shot percentage, what would you do? Going below or trying to go over the screen? Then, then we got above 90% that thinks that it's better to go over the screen. So now let's ask our guest. The first question to Eugenio is usually, how do you defend during a pick and roll play depending on your opponent's skills? He's a great shooter, a great dribbler. How do you defend these situations?
You see, if it is a very good shooter, I will go over the screen trying to push him over so I can create a space between the screener and the player. So I will push a little bit the dribbler, the shooter, so I can create space between the two of them. If it's a really good who's going to the inside, who's going to attack the basket, I will go under the screen to stop the drive and make him shoot the ball.
Just you have mentioned something important of trying to get close with your opponent so the screen cannot be set properly. And this
Correct.
happens sometimes with defenders that as he's watching the screen coming, he's trying to push a bit the opponent just to be the opponent, you, and the screen in the back. So, and also we have the defender of the screener who's also pushing the screener to avoid him from having a good screen.
It depends. It depends on the tactic of the game of the player because of sometimes the coach will say, just do an edge. Don't push him. Like later in the video, we will see. Don't push him. Just get an edge. Get your hand on it so he doesn't go easily over the screen. Or the other one is that is push. That is more usually for a play that will go under the screen. So it will create space and it will go easy under the screen, easy under the screen. So if it's a very good shooter, I will get close to him or I'll push him gently. It won't be like very hard push. Or just push him gently so I can get close to him and then try to create space between the screener and the player.
Okay, let's watch video number 3 to see some examples.
Contra Barbuda, Antiguo y Barbuda. Ya la lleva Barea, el de los Dallas Mavericks. Sí, señor. El número 5. Luzcando lo cubre de cerca. Barea la lleva. Barea se eleva. Tira, falla. Rebote para Lloreda. Con Luzcando.
In this
In
play,
that video, as you can see, as the screen is coming close to me, I try to get close to him so I can go over him. But he set up well, pushing me under the screen and then using the screen. So I got stuck in the screen a little bit, but I had my teammate that was right there to diss him a little bit, and I got time to come back to him and contest the shot.
some smart players, and I have watched when they are dribbling or being the offensive player, and they go after the screen, and they know you are desperate trying to go against them, they can suddenly stop and create a shot. And as you are trying to reach him, you come from the back and you can push. So have you had this type of situations which you are going above the screen quickly and he stopped to shot and you can push him from the back?
Yes, it happens. Actually, in the NBA, they do it more often, and it's just knowledge of play is just what can I say? It's just you have to practice it and then learn it really well to actually uh, use it in the game. So it happens. You can't do it. You just happen to react quickly and then try to avoid it. If not, it's just a foul. You just can't do anything.
Omar, what do you think about this play?
Mm-mm.
It's mute.
He's gonna react. He's gonna re-enter the room again. Well, it happens to the
Yeah.
best ones, to the worst ones. It just happens that uh, you have to try to react really fast and then try not to follow them because it just happens real quick. And then that's an easy call to the ref because I'm pushing, trying to rush him, trying to get uh, in front of him, and then he just suddenly stops and shoots it. Just like ran over him. So easy call.
Okay, let's watch the video number 4 while Omar is coming, so we can have other comments on going below the screen.
Luzcando with the layup on the other end, left-handed. Now you hear the horns going. Gutierrez short.
Let's watch again once more, and you will watch on the key. Here's coming.
Luzcando with the layup on the other end, left-handed. Now you hear the horns going. Gutierrez short.
In this case, what happened?
Well, in this case, I got caught watching the ball instead of watching my man. So the first indirect screen made me late for 2-3 meters. So I got like a big space between my player that was guarding and me. And then the next screen that is direct screen. There was the pick and roll. I tried to go under to go faster, but I got caught in the screen. So my teammate had to help me. We switched in that moment. So he was with the small player. I was with the big man. That was the confusing part that makes the pick and roll. And we had a mismatch. Luckily, in that play, they didn't reel it. They didn't read it well, or we didn't have time. The shot clock. So they didn't take advantage of that moment between me and the big man of Mexico.
Omar?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
We hear you.
Great. So something important that we need to remember on these type of situations, especially when we have the mismatch. So because it related to the backbeat on the video that we saw before between Eugenio and Barea, something important after that, always the defender is trying to make the attempt to escape their screen, and in that intention, usually we have that kind of grabs or pushings on that fight between, in the fight between the space or the spot. But usually on those situations like Barea, uh, we need to be smart because always the defender, when we don't have the mismatch, the defender is trying to reach or coming back to the defense, and during that process we always have that smart point guards that knows that the defender is right in the back, and so they stop and they take some advantage of that contact. So just be smart with the arms and know your angles. And when we have the mismatch, it is more important just because if the ball, this is the example between a center and a point guard, so we have a lot of difference. And if they put the ball right on the key for the center, so we have that mismatch. So that creates really disadvantage when we are talking about weight and height. And we need to know what's gonna happen. In this case, they didn't put the ball on the key because they had the intention to have a one-on-one between the point guard and the center. Uh, 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 Sorry, between the guard and something lower by height. So we need to be smart. What's gonna happen? We need to be frame by frame. So we have the point pick and roll. What we have immediately after that, and know what's the point of emphasis of that situation. If we have a mismatch, of course, take care about the hands, take care about the forearms, and if we don't have the mismatch, we need to be aware of the intention of the defender to coming back to the defense, so we can have those type of contacts.
Something before going to the next clip. When we have now on the new rule 2020 from October, well explain the offensive player cylinder that we had not in the future. Because those mismatch, most of them occurs during a pick and roll when you switch because you don't used to guard the center of the other team. So when now you are with the center and he's trying to do a natural movement and you are in front of him and you comes close to create contact and then get hit somewhere, now he is more protected by his cylinder. So it's not you just come too close and when he comes natural, you hit with this and the referees used to call offensive foul on him. But now with this new rule, not new rule, but new explanation, he is more protected of his space where he has in the space he has to move. He can move naturally to go to the basket or any other movement. So you have to know now. Maybe you got some hit here and still fall on you. Don't get pissed off because it can happen.
You gotta send me the new rules so I can read it and take advantage of it.
You now know.
Yeah.
Now we move on to we still defending, but we have the second question to Eugenio, which is when guarding a moving player and you watch that the screen is going to be set, do you try to create any type of contact to sell an illegal screen? Let's have the answer, and then we watch a video.
Actually,
Bonus, eh? These people are from Middle East, so maybe they will not referee, but be honest with them.
I will actually. It depends of the tactic of the game. I will try to go over or under, and then if the screen is moving, I try to over exaggerate the moving screen so you guys actually call it easily. Then just try to go over and fight it, and so I will actually over exaggerate a little bit, try to go over or under the screen, and if they move a little bit or they move the hip a little bit, so I will exaggerate a little bit. Just hey, try to you guys call it.
Let's watch the video number 5, and then we can. Let's see.
And it's a 4-point lead for Mexico. Mata bumps Luzcando down to the floor. Stole on the drive. Now to Cruz for 3.
Before talking, did you listen to the commentator? He says Mata throw Luzcando out to the floor. So that's what he watched. Imagine what your coach watched. So let's talk about play.
And you can hear the public yelling, because I just tangled my feet. You want to watch it again?
Let's watch again. Let's watch again. Video 5.
And it's a 4-point lead for Mexico. Mata bumps Luzcando down to the floor. Stole on the drive. Now to Cruz for three. Bring
Now, what really happened? Let's know what really happened.
Well, I was guarding my man and trying to tease him a lot, so he would take time off the shot clock, going over the half court, and then because I'm watching my man, I didn't see or hear anybody yelling at me. That was a screen, so when I step over him or we get entangled our feet, I just I just fell. Now, but by watching the clip right now, he wasn't set knowing the rule now. He
He was,
wasn't set.
he was walking. He was walking somewhere, and
He was seeing me though. He wasn't set. He wasn't a legal screen though.
yeah, we have not had any session about faking, but one important thing is, and I think we talked in the last session, we need to watch the complete picture. If you watch you, him, floor, and we say 1, 2, 3 is fake, then we are not like understanding what's really happening. If you trips with his feet, it's normal. You go down and then you come up. So
Yeah.
let's have the big picture. Let's have what the player is doing, and we will have better decisions on the court.
Yeah, in this case, I didn't see him or hear him, so I entangled my feet with him and just fell on the ground and tried to get up real quick. And then my man switched with me, and I had to go somewhere else and find his man tried to fill out the space.
Okay, now we're going to move to the offensive side. How do you play the offense using the pick and roll? So the first question is, which techniques can you share for an efficient pick and roll? And how do you usually end these types of play?
Well, the first thing, as soon as you get the ball, is the setup, is to create space or do a jab step. So my defender will, will actually be in the reacting space. So as soon as my teammate come and screen me, he will have a better efficient screen because of my defender is already step back of me. So instead of being close to me, like I used to say, like when I'm guarding the screen, I will go closer to you, so I create space. But in this time, because I'm in the offensive part, I would create space, so my screener will go better, and then I would take the screen, and then we'll see what is the option. If the man is really under the basket, I will shoot the shot. Or if he's in the middle ground, I will attack him because I got space to go around him and then try to attack his body or get his hip. So you guys would call it. Or if the big man is really edging hard, I would try to see the role of my man or somebody else that is open because I create that confusion. And now it's two people guarding me. There must be one that is gonna be open.
Let's watch the video number 7 with some, I think, 3 play situations that maybe describe what you have said. Sorry. Video number 6. Video number 6. That's it. Sorry. Let's watch.
No worries.
She's ruled that it was just a foul on the opposition. Here's Luzcando driving in, scores with a left.
Now we have.
You wanna watch it again?
Yes, we can.
She's ruled that it was just a foul on the opposition. Here's Luzcando driving in, scores with left.
Okay. In the very first clip, that is, I was playing for Panama. My man was really close to me, so I took a step to the basket. So he would go. I will create like a meter space between me and him, and then I will go attack the screen. But as soon as I see him rushing, trying to go over the screen, you hear me? Yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Because I lost you a little bit. So as soon as going over the screen, I turn around and attack the basket, and then I had the shot right there, but I prefer, that's my strength, to go to the basket. And then the second clip, I created a space. I got almost to half court between my man and me. So as soon as the screen came, he was already in the screen because of the space I created. So I could attack the big man of the screen, and the big man was late too. So I could go around him and then make like 3 people into the paint, and then pass it outside for an easy 3-pointer. And then the last clip, my defender went over the screen, but because of that little hesitation that I took right there, created the confusion between the two defenders. They didn't know if they're gonna switch or they're gonna stay, or they didn't know what to do. So they created a little confusion because of the hesitation. I could attack the basket, and then the other big man helped me, so I throw the alley up to my big man, and then actually dunked the ball.
Good. Now we will ask the last question before watching we will ask the question, we'll watch the clip, and then hear your comments. And it is, do you consider yourself a good perimeter shooter, and how does it influence the way in which a defender guards you during a pick and roll? So let's watch video number 7, and then we have your comments. We'll watch one more time. Good shooter, practicing, or what can you share?
Actually, my strength is going to the basket. It's easy for me to attack either hand. So I'm trying to improve my perimeter shooting and my middle range shooting, like you can see right here. So it creates more option for me to attack. In this case, there is something I've been working on in my middle range shooting. As you can see, as soon as the screen is coming, I already got like 2 meters of space between me and my defender. I could shut it right there, but I chose to use the screen that would create me another meter of space, and then took one dribble to the basket and shot it. And I already had 3 meters of space, so I shot it really comfortable, shooting it right there. And that is something I've been improving. I don't consider myself a really good shooter. I'm just a average shooter. That is something I've been working on.
Okay, it's good. You're still young, so you have time to do so. Thank you. Now we are moving to the rule support.
So after we saw these videos and we talk about how we had these pick and roll situations where the possible options that we have. Of course, we need to have some rule support to define and to know exactly what the rule says. And at the time we had any type of situations on the game, so we can support that verbally with the coaches and of course the players. It doesn't mean that it's gonna be always, but just remember, so always the right words, we have the right outcome. So next question for you guys is for a screen to be considered legal. So we have three options. The player should be stationary and inside the cylinder when the contact occurs. Option B, the player should have both feet on the floor when the contact occurs. And option C, all of the above. So you'll see same activity, same dynamic options. So we have a couple of all of the above. Let's see what the rule says. And it is important to define when a screen is legal and this screen is legal. So a screening is an attempt for delay or prevent an opportunity without the ball from reaching a desired position on the playing court. Legal screening is when the player who is screening an opponent was stationary, of course, inside the cylinder when the contact occurred, and had both feet on the floor when the contact occurs. So this answer our question. When when the screen is illegal is when the player who is screening an opponent was moving when the contact occurred and did not give sufficient distance in setting a screen outside the field of vision of a stationary opponent when the contact occurred, and did not respect the elements of time and distance of an opponent in motion when the contact occurred. So remember, to be legal, you need to be stationary inside the cylinder and have both feet on the floor at the moment of the contact. Next question is when a player set a screen outside the field of vision of a stationary opponent, two options should permit the opponent to take one normal step toward the screen without making contact, and option B may establish the screen as close to him as he wishes, provided there's no contact. So you have two options. So we will describe this topic by next on the next page. And the rule supports about the screens is 3 points. If the screen is set within the field of vision of a stationary opponent, it means front or lateral. The screen may establish the screen as close to him as he wishes, provided there is no contact. Second, if the screen is set outside the field of vision of a stationary opponent, the screener must permit the opponent to take one normal step toward the screen without making contact. And I think this is one of the more controversial topics that we have every time we had a screen on the game, because most of the time the people complain about the player or the defender who is receiving the screen didn't see the screener, and this is one of the reasons that people start complaining. So the rule says that it is legal, but between the contact and the screening setting, you need to be one step allow it to the defender to move so he can skip the screen. If the opponent is in motion, the element of time in distance shall apply. The screener must leave enough space so the player who is being screened is able to avoid the screen by stopping or changing direction. Of course, the distance required is never less than one and never more than two normal steps. Uh, Remember, a player who is legally screened is responsible for any contact with the player who has set the screen. And this is something important also because sometimes we have on the game a lot of players that they think just because they are screened, they have the opportunity or they have the right to go really hard and crush with the screener. And this is something that we need to remember that the defender uh, never lose his rights and he's always keeping his obligations during the game no matter his condition. It doesn't allow him to crush the defender, the screener, so just keep that in mind.
Okay, now we have watched players' purpose, now rule supports, and we are going to review some point of emphasis on some situations, some real play situations. So the way we are going to do is very common to everybody. We will put the question, which is in the following action. The option A is the movement of the player, white 15, is legal and shall not be called as a personal foul. And B, the movement of the player, white 15, is illegal and shall be called as a personal foul. So you have two options. When you watch the clip, you can give your answer. We have here from La Rosie. We will that rule support. We will like explain more now with the play situation. So any question you have, you can make it when we are like discussing the play and the rule support on each one. So let's watch video number 8.
I wonder how the players feel. Cold to them or?
Imagine once you get moving.
Oh, they called an offensive foul on Ogilvy.
That'll be 2 on Ogilvy. Imagine once you get moving, probably won't feel it too much. I've been in buildings for basketball where it's been colder than this.
Yeah.
I don't hear you. If you're talking, I don't hear you.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. Now, here. Before sharing our opinion and while the people is answering, let's ask Eugenio, what do you think in this play about the action of White 15, who was your teammate in that game? What do you think about his actions during the screen?
Well, as you can see, he was trying to post up his the mismatch between him and the point guard of the other team, and I think he went way too aggressively and actually grabbed him, the other player. That's why the other player fell to the ground, and actually he flopped a little bit, trying to sell the foul. And if my teammate would have done the same thing but not using his hand, I don't think they would have called that one. Yeah.
Yes, and you have said, and we talked earlier about those mismatches. And first, we have that the role of the player who sets the screen. There is not a specific time, but we need the screen to be set stationary, and then he can begin his roll to the basket. Because sometimes this is how big players rolls earlier to have the small opponent in his back. So he creates a mismatch. In this case, he did it too early, and he was not like really stationary at the moment of the screen. Also, the mismatch on the post play. And when we have post and post that are fighting for the position, maybe the movements of one towards the other are not like very huge because they are maybe same weight, maybe same height. But when the mismatch come and they try to do the same movement with a guard, then it's not the same because now the incidence of this action on the guard is bigger. So we need to take care, as you said, the use of hands to hook him in his back might be some of the arguments to have an illegal situation. And the last one is responsibility of the lead and trail referee on this pick and roll. As the roller is coming to the baseline or to the basket, then the referee, who is the lead, is the one responsible to pick up this situation early. And the trail, who maybe can be a bit like above the play, is responsible for the on-ball action. So sometimes we on the lead position are very focused on the screen and we are not like opening ourselves to the perimeter. So when those two players are coming to me, I maybe have not the whole information about the situation. So I think on the shot we have above 90% that consider it's illegal. You consider it's illegal. Everybody consider it's illegal. So we can stay with the illegal screen. Now we will move to our second video, which is we will have the following question on the poll. It is option A, red 44 is responsible, so we have a legal screen. Option B, white 3 is responsible, so we have defensive foul. And option C, there is marginal contact, so we have red 44 faking. So let's watch the video. This one we'll watch twice, and then you can share your opinion. Video number 9.
Luzcando says it set things up a bit. He gets a screen from Johnson, who is thrown to the... Luzcando says it set things up a bit. He gets a screen from Johnson, who is thrown to the...
What do you think, Eugenio, about this play? You can put in the place of the screener or in the place of the defender?
Well, in the place of the screener, he was in the line of the side of the defender, so he didn't have to stay back for the space, the 1 meter, the one space that the defender needs. So he saw him, and then he set up his feet well. So it was a legal screen. He was in between his cylinder. But then the defender ran. Well, he pushed him. He actually extended his arm towards the screener, and that actually make him. That was the foul that I think it was. There was a unreasonable force trying to go through the screen instead of around the screen.
The last you said was a key, because when you have the choice to go around or to go through, and you decide to go through, then you are like the responsible, because he led you that space to go around. So we can share some points of emphasis on this play. The first one is the screen inside or outside the field of vision? And you said it was inside. The defender can realize that there is a screen when he was stationary. So we can say the screen was legal, and we can disregard the option A. Now, almost talk about that a player who is legally screened is responsible for any contact with the player who has set that legal screen. So if you consider first, that's a legal screen, now any other contact is always the responsibility of the defender. that's when we need to judge, because that's like our work. We know, but now we have to judge if that illegal contact has an incidence on the player receiving the contact. And when we talk about incidents, we talk about balance, in this case, balance, because now that screener is outside of the offense of the team because he's on the floor. So we are putting that player outside of the play. So there is an incident. And we talk in the Spanish session about if that push might create that big player to go to the floor. We talk about you saw mentioned maybe he faked,
He
but
was
you
he
think
was actually faking a little bit, so they will actually call it. But as you can see, they didn't call it because because of he actually fall to the ground.
and that's also something important because when we watch this, we are not judging the contact of the white. We are judging the reaction of the rest. Ah, no, he how can he fail with that contact? That's not a foul, that's a fake.
Mhm.
But we're not like refereeing the white. So in this case, there was a push, there was an arm open, so it's like enough to have a personal foul on white number three, even though red let himself going back. We can call the foul, then comes like informally to the red, say, hey, I watch the contact, you don't need to help me in that way. So let's try to have the game smooth, but realizing that there's an illegal contact that has an incidence. And the last one is responsibility of the center referee because he is well located by mechanics. Mechanics says free throw line extended, there is the spot of the center. But depending on the play from this place, we cannot see what's happening between. So pick and roll is a play in which we need to be open to everybody, to dribbler, defender, screener, his defender, so we can judge and we can watch the complete action. So I think on the answers, people agree also. People say not much, half of the people, that white tree is responsible and should be called for a defensive foul. Let's move now to our last video.
Okay, so we have the next video where we have another situation created on the top of the 3-point line. Something to remember about refereeing techniques and basics is that every time that we have a screen, so we need to remember that we will have 3 or 4 players at the same spot, fighting to be in the right defensive position or fighting to be in the best advantage position as an offensive. And based on that, just remember always that probably the ball is in my primary coverage area, but maybe I cannot see the whole 4 or 5 players in the same spot. And these situations brings a new topic that we talked about before in some sessions about primary coverage area and angles about refereeing. So next video is the same. Let's play it. I will describe the question and right at the time the video is running. And basically do have 2 options. Who is white 17 is responsible for the contact, which means it's an illegal screen, or red 11 is responsible for the contact, or he's faking. Let's see. Oh well, we post this video on social media, and we have a couple of answers. So let's see it.
Offensive foul. They're going to call a flop on Lucic. They are calling a flop, which means a technical foul.
So we're not talking about what the decision was. We're not talking about the decision. We're talking about
third foul. 3 fouls. Okay.
what occurs in this situation.
Contact. Don't really see how that's a flop.
Eugenio, I know you already saw it before, but just what do you think about this?
Yeah, we're gonna watch the video again.
Prepelic. Offensive foul. They're going to call a flop on Lucic. They are calling a flop, which means a technical foul. And also possession, so Lucic will now have
His third foul.
3 fouls. Okay.
We'll see here. His contacts. Don't really see how that's a flop.
It's funny because of that is something I would do. I would actually try to go around the screen, but as soon as he moves a little bit, I would fall to the ground and try to get you guys to actually call it. But if you see it right here in the first video, the live video, you can see that he's actually like trying to flop. He's actually trying to sell the call. But then in the second video, in the slow motion video, you can see that the white man, the white 17, he's not actually legally setting the screen. He's not, his feet is not in the ground at the moment of the screen. And then Red trying to sell the illegal screen, he fell, he jumped to the ground, he died to the ground basically. And that is something I would do, and I have done it.
Yeah, something that is well, after we saw the people on the social media said 72%, it means 106 persons they said illegal, and 42% or 28% they say that's a fake. And that this is something like interesting, because if we why we have a lot of screens and why we have a lot of people like getting emotional on this situation, just remember, because the people is watching the ball, and when we have this situation, all the people is like just complaining, but just remember that we as a referees, we cannot forget our basics, and we always are watching the players, watching their moves, and we are like going frame by frame, trying to predict and trying to getting a step forward and getting that position. And that's why the people always said how he can saw it, because it's like I didn't even imagine that that's in the screen. But just remember the basics. The defender is not in a static position with both feet on the floor. At the time of the contact, the defender is still in movement, and the player who's seeing the screen is not stationary, which means that's illegal. And also, where was the point of contact? And then this situation brings the topics of the fake situations, because the contact was right in the like chest or neck, maybe probably face, but it was more in the neck. And the reaction is what the people think that is not matching with the contact, because always when we saw the hands in the air, the people say that's a fake. But the truth is that if we get hit on the face or in the neck, of course, the immediately reaction that we will have is like punching or trying to protect ourselves. So basics, this situation, the defender is not stationary, he's still in movement. The contact is right in the neck, and of course the reaction of the red player or the offensive player is matching with the type of contact. Just remember, it doesn't mean that's an unsportsmanlike. It means that just consider the level of the contact. Just keep in mind that, because always when we have this type of crash situations on the screen, so we need to know what was the consequence of this contact and what was the level. So illegal situation, defender still in movement, wasn't stationary. Let's move to the next one.
I want to say something, a little background to everybody who's watching this. This usually happens that is a illegal screen or a moving screen like this is because of the other player went too fast or reacted too quickly. He didn't have enough patience to let his teammate set the screen legally. It happens to me that I got the ball, and as soon as I see my teammate coming to screen my defender, I will run to the basket, and then I'm not patient enough to wait for my teammate to set the screen legally, and then I start running, and he's not ready, and then he just got hit, screened the other teammate, the other defender illegally, and that's an easy call for you guys because he wasn't set, and that was my fault for not being patient enough for my teammate to set the screen. Like this in this video happened, the other his teammate ran to the ball uh, earlier than he was supposed to, and then his teammate he wasn't ready for this to the screen, and then tried to do his job, and he didn't do it well because he was his teammate.
And I can add one point in this because we always are taught to call what everybody can see, everybody can understand. And we are watching the red player trying to go around. He's trying to, the screen is here, he's trying to go around, and while the screen is moving to his right, then the contact occurs on his shoulder. So we can consider that if I'm trying to go around and there is a contact, maybe it's because the screener is moving to my side where I am trying to go. If the red player is going straight to the screener, is going to the chest, even though the screen moves a bit, he's going straight to his chest. So everybody's saying that he's responsible in the case it happened of the red. So we need to watch like the obvious. If the screen is moving a bit, but the defender is going straight to the chest, it's defender's foul. But if the defender is trying to avoid the screen and this movement caused this contact we have in the picture, then it is like everybody can understand that it's an illegal screen. So let's have that point on our minds when trying to call obvious things and what people can really understand.
Yes, and well, going a little bit higher or in the topic about we are talking about right here who was responsible, but in this case, these type of situations really needs that two referees are looking this area. Why? Because always gotta be a blind angle for someone. So just remember primary coverage and angles. This is the only way we can have this play correct call on the game. Because if not, we've got to talk always about we had a missed call, we had a non-call, incorrect. So the key is to be always connected with the situations, knowing the angles, knowing the primary coverage, and then, of course, if we miss it, we can talk about our criteria. But then, if we don't have the basics right, really strong, of course, we'll have this type of calls, incorrect or weak.
Now we will share like a digital certificate to our guest who says certificate to Eugenio Luzcando for your valuable participation during our 9th digital session titled Pick and Roll, Players' Purpose and Points of Emphasis. Thank you very much on sharing honest point of view so it can help us to have a bigger understanding of the game. Next week, we don't have the flyer yet, but we have the topic. We will talk about emotional control and mistake management. Okay, I missed the call. How can I recover myself to the next play? And this is something very personal, but we can share some techniques with a guest who is a sports psychologist and also a referee. So he might know what to do when this happens and he can help us with this. Next, coming soon, we have this. Next week we will reach our 10th session. So it is like our first season of Project 24, the first 10 session, and we want to stop and make an activity which can be more interactive with the people and trying to be fun also. So we will have a virtual tournament, which is called Test Your Knowledge, and we will give more information and more details next Thursday on our 10th session. So follow us on the social media, stay tuned, and next week you will have all the details how to participate. It's free, the registration, and you can have good prices and good for the first three of the competition. So sometimes we have a very shy people or public in the English session, so they don't make many questions as we do in the Spanish. But if you have any question, we will stay here 2 or 3 more minutes. If you don't, then we can conclude the session. So any final comments from Eugenio? What do you think about the session? I know you have learned Spanish. Now it's time for English. Makes any question.
I did actually learn a lot. Now, next time I see you in the court, you two ref, I'll be like, hey, that's a legal screen, and you know it. And right here, the rule says I learned it from you, so you gotta call it.
You know something. Always when we have some interaction with players and coaches, so we cannot say something wrong because during the game, of course, they're gonna say, "Hey, you told me this, and you didn't opposite." So it doesn't match. So we need to be smart with that.
Hey, thank you, Julio. Hey, you need to send me the certificate so I can post it, please. Yes, last time you weren't right on it. I told Omar that you need to send it to me right now, ASAP, to my WhatsApp.
I will. Today, internet was great, so we don't have any technical issue. We had not rain, so that's why. If you have any question, you can do it. If not, we will see how we can share the broadcast so you can share with any other referee who will not join. We have nothing from my part. I can conclude. Thank you, Eugenio. Thank you, Omar, on sharing this. Sometimes, as referee, we go straight to the rule and we don't open our minds on what the players are trying to do, so we can be better or we can improve our decision-making process. So, thank you. See you next Thursday with our emotional control session. Omar?
Well, thank you, especially to Eugenio for joining us again. I know it was hard to create some space for the Spanish and the English session, but I really appreciate that. Thank you for the I was mixing the Spanish and the English. And thank you for the people who joining us again. Of course, if you saw it live, thank you. If you saw it on the replay, just thank you for sharing us, and of course, please share this information or these links or videos for people that they don't know about us. And well, any questions, any tricky plays that you have, please send us an email or send us a message by your any of the platforms on the social media. So in the first opportunity, we'll reply for you.
And finally, thank you to everybody who watched this, who hear this and then learn from this, and then especially you two, Julio and Omar, for inviting me. It's a big honor. Like you said last time, I'm the first player here, so it's a big honor for me to be here and uh, express my little knowledge that I have, and then I hope that I keep spending with you. I hope I just keep growing, and then next time I'll be here too. Instead of right here talking, I'll be listening.
Okay, so we have a new subscriber. So see you next Thursday. Bye bye.